What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? This is Jay. Man, this is going to be my review recap for Lovecraft Country episode 8. Now, Lovecraft Country is probably one of my favorite shows on TV right now. They got a lot going on as far as with the all of the symbolism and even the people's names mean things, and just everything with the history and with the occult and magic is just, well, really witchcraft is really what it is. But nevertheless, it put together in a well-written, excellent show, and I'm just sad that they already on episode 8, y'all. Episode 8. And this, they deal with the death of Emmett Till and his funeral. And so the episode 8, at first it showed that it kicked off and that it's one of the hottest days of the year in Chicago. And we see even the street, everything is just hot. Lots of people outside, and it's like everybody is at this church. And we see that D is there, hot, stressing out. This woman come out the side door of the church, hot. As soon as she come out, dude got a bucket right there next to the door for her to throw up. I mean, it was just that horrifying that people was coming out throwing up on the regular, that they already had a bucket ready. And so we see that people were using fans and stuff trying to keep cool or whatever, but it was just so hot. And then we see this Muslim dude, and he out there, he wasn't slanging bean pies, he was over there mad, saying no more about what was going on. He upset about what happened with Emmett Till. And so we see on the other side, it was a preacher, and he talking about using the law and getting things done that way. And so basically, in a symbolism way, the beginnings of Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X type thought process. And then we see that everybody is angry over what happened at Emmett Till. And D says, while she out there, what's that smell? And they tried to say, Ruby says, well, it's one of the hottest days of the year, baby. And D says, it's him, isn't it? And that is rumored that in real life, you could actually smell the body from outside once, you was there for the funeral. And that's what they were, alluding to. And so Tick is there, and he asking Letty if she need to sit. He keep checking on her. You could tell he know that she probably pregnant or something going on with her. Then she's saying she okay, she good. Then Ruby is saying that it's not a good idea to bring D. And we see Montrose over there, Scarface, he talking about is every Negro rite of passage in this country. And so he wanted her to see, and Tick is saying Uncle George would have wanted her to see. And so, everybody have her coming to see. And so she's staring at the picture in front of the church of Emmett Till. And so next thing you know, she kind of shed her tears or whatever. And then we see Tick pull Letty to the side. And he's saying that, he wanted to tell D about what happened, and that her mama may be missing and not coming back. And so they saying, I don't know, that ain't a good idea right now. We gotta wait and see. And while they sitting there talking, D then walked off, may be missing. And so then they go looking for D. They split up, trying to go different ways to find her. And it's packed for this funeral. And so D is looking in the window down the street at the little, penny arcade. And she kind of zoned out for a minute. And then next thing you know, while she walking down the street, these two girls is laughing. And so, she looked behind her. She upset. Next thing you know, she throw these rocks at the little girls. Next thing you know, they run away. And she say, ain't nothing to laugh at. And so then she started laughing. And so we see that there's different stores on the block closed for Emmett. And so while she's walking, a cop pulls up on her. And he asks her name, and he checking on her. And then he say, is this her comic? And so we already know that the main cop, the captain, is into the magic and everything and what's going on. And we saw that he got a lot of pull because once they was messing with that Ori, the real Ori, his cops, his people showed up. And so we see that they ask him where her mama is. And she say, ooh, they say, what's your mama name too? And she say, Hippolyta. And they like, man, them damn African names. And so the cop, it was two of them, one behind her, started to write a mark on the ground. And he holding her while he writing a mark on the ground on each side of her. And the main cop, he asking her what she knows about magic. And so she like, I don't know what you mean in the comics. And so, in stories. And so he began to say a spell or whatever he was saying. And then he spit in his hand and then smashing on her head, I guess, as if to seal the deal. And so then while the other cop is holding her, she began to see things. She falls down. They leave. Then next thing you know, she's wiping the spit off. And while she wiping the spit off, she grossed out, of course. Next thing you know, we see Letty. She coming home. And we see that she see Kumiho is there. And so Tick, he's in the cemetery with Christina. And next thing you know, he's asking Christina to teach him how to cast the spell. And he says, yeah, right. What do you need that for? He say it's his birthright. And she say, yeah, right. You ain't even white enough to believe that yourself. She say, what you needed is to protect yourself or something. And he said, look, she say, I heard you got Titus pages. He say, well, he can't give her, that, or give her the orrery. But he say, what you really want is this. And he show her the key. And so after she get the key, she tell him to cast the spell. And he needs a body, energy, and intention. And so she showed the little spell. She write the little spell or whatever on the little wall. And she said you need all those things to upset the balance of nature without a natural disaster, which a lot of people say happened with some other tragedies in world history. Nevertheless, she said that'll achieve perfect alignment. And so she draw the symbol, say it's a protection pattern, and then she say you could draw it in blood would be preferred. And so then she leaves. And so he asks, what about the autumnal equinox? And she stopped. She was almost out the door. And then she say she gonna achieve immortality. And so next thing you know, we see Dee at home. She mad. We see Montrose asking her to calm down. She asking, where my mama? And so he say he don't know. She on a guide trip. And she say, you lying. Is she dead too? And so he like, man, but you gotta calm down. And he like, I don't know. She know about Bobo. And he said, stop fucking lying. And so he stop forking lying. And then she go in the bathroom, slam the door. Montrose looking stupid. He don't know what to do. And so while she in there washing her face, then she put on, the radio. And so we see this book that was right there where the radio was, the little stand. And then it was Uncle Tom's Cabin was the book. And so, which is something else in and of itself. And so it's so many clues, so many things in this show. And so then this song say knocking at the door. And that song was kind of unique as well. And it just so happened that she had the door locked and Montrose was about to be knocking at the door. And then she see the book, the cover of the book start to change. And it was one thing with these girl on the cover with in front of a mirror, and then she looked and then it was changed again. And so she leave out the window because she a little wigged out. And then Montrose finally come in. He noticed she ain't responding to whatever it is he's saying. As he sees she gone. Later we see Ruby, and she at this gate trying to get in the house. And this white man asked if she was lost. And she say no. And he say, are you mad? And she say, no, I ain't damn mad. And so then that made dude mad. He walk over there. He was about to roll up on her. And right before he did, we see William roll up. And so he asked what's going on. And he say, well, with that mess going on the other side of town, we didn't want none of that coming on over here. And so he say, oh, no, you ain't got to worry about none of that. She good. And so then we see Ruby tell him, he looked like a monster. And so next thing you know, we see Ruby getting naked. And she got on the little sexy lingeries and everything, and nice legs, and getting all up in the tub. And next thing you know, she kissing all on William. But then she kind of stopped, catch herself, knowing that that's that damn Christina in reality. And so then we see her looking in the mirror. Then she take that potion, and then she get ready for William anyway. And then while they doing something, you see the white skin just fall all off and all that. And it was, and y'all be able to see. But it was gory. And so then we see Tick. He see when he coming home, he see shoes at the door. And he already know who that is, you know what I'm saying, with little bitty women's shoes. That's Kumeho. And so he come inside, he see that Letty mad, and he see that she sitting there at the Kumeho, looking, just sitting there looking still. And so he know he in trouble. And so then next thing you know, we see that D is on this train platform. And she paranoid. She trying to get out of there. And she see the ugly, Raggedy Ann little girl finally appear. Who was, part of that little curse that cop put on her with the spit. And so it's like little ugly Raggedy Ann twins. And those girls did some hell of an acting because they was really creepy looking. Anyway, she asking this dude, did he see that? He don't see what she talking about. She try to run. Meanwhile, Tick, he talking to old Kumeho, talking about, oh, so you done killed your 100 men now, huh? And she say, it is my nature. And so she say that when her little tails come out, that she's able to see the life and death of her victims. And so when they orgasm, and he asks, well, why is she there? And Letty say, because she loves you. And so Letty mad, she walk away. Meanwhile, Tick say what they had wasn't real. That's what he say to her while Letty was gone. And then he tell her to leave. And she start to cry. When he go upstairs, we see Letty up there packing the bag already. And so he asking her what's going on. She want him to leave. And he's like, man, what's going on? And she mad that he didn't tell them about her, is what she said. And he said he gonna cast a spell to fix all that. And so she say, how you gonna do that? How you gonna cast the spell? And he tell her about how he had talked with Christina and that Christina told him. And so Letty don't trust Christina. He said, well, we ain't got no choice right now. And so then Ruby tell Christina about Emmett Till. We see them talking. Man, she's saying, you don't even care about that or whatever. You should be feeling upset like I do. A 14-year-old boy that got killed. And she say, well, truth is, no, I don't care. That's what Christina say. And she say, and I don't care. She don't pretty much care about nothing but magic. She ain't care about the killer. She ain't care about none of Emmett Till. She ain't care about nothing. And Ruby said that, you should be upset. You should know how I feel. And she said, that you should feel my pain. Next thing you know, we see Ruby taking the potion. And she said the reason why I took the potion was so that I wouldn't be a black woman forking a white man. And so then she said, I don't think you care either, though. And that was kind of unique. And Ruby didn't never say nothing like that before. And so she say, you're a woman who want what you want. That's what Christina said, though. And so Ruby began to cry because she thought Christina was going to cry. And so we see, next thing you know, that Dee is walking outside and she see Letty. And she asked Letty, where's Tick? And Tick, she say, I don't know. And then next thing you know, Dee see the little little ugly twins, Ugmos. And so she tell Letty behind her, but before she can get it out, her mouth began to close up and she couldn't get no words out. And so then she began to run towards the house, but instead of going in the house where she would have been protected, she ran on the side of the house and she saw Woody there. And so she go inside, she go inside of Woody for a second, but she see the Uglos, so she get on her bike. And later we see Montrose sitting on the corner, and then Tick, he asked Montrose, did you cheat on my mama? He's still worried about that. And so he said, look, I had desires, but I never acted on them until she was gone. And so he say, when he was a boy, that the pastor got arrested and he was put into asylum and removed half his brain for being gay. So he basically chose a life over losing half a brain. And so he said that him and his wife, yeah, they may argue, him and his mama, but they had familiar love. And he like, yeah, that's the strongest bond you can have. You'll see. God bless you. You'll see. And so he tell him, look, Letty pregnant. And so he said that he went to the future and he had a son and he had his son's book. And so he's surprised. And so then they see that Letty was in church and that she prayed a lot, but that she was begging to protect Tick. And so we see that Christina come in while Letty is in church. And she come in, Letty don't know that Christina walked in yet. And she praying for Emmett Till and praying for all kind of stuff. And then Christina say, I didn't think you was the praying type. And she say, well, I wasn't until I died and, came back. And Christina say, yeah, but that was magic. That was a little different. And Letty says, well, is there a difference really? The walk on water part or the, up from the dead or whatever the case. And so she say, her dad thought that, it was just a difference, that he was special, but he was just immortal. And she say that he was able to manipulate those around him, but that he was not a god, and that God is both immortal and, able to do all that. I mean, Christina be getting deep. And so Letty say that what you want to be God, that's what you trying to do. And so she said, look, I got the negative of Titus Pages, and she slide it out, and Christina see it. And she said, what you want? And Letty said, make Tick invincible. And Christina said, no, I'll do it for you. And so then Letty think about it for the second, and then she take the pictures back. She ain't gonna do it. And so Christina get up and about to leave. But before she leave, Letty say, wait. And she give her the pictures, and then Christina cast the spell on Letty. And you can see the mark of Cain is what she put on her body. You can see, and she said it's an invulnerability spell, and you can use it to heal or whatever. And so, Christina then gave Letty that spell of protection now, of invulnerability. So later we see Dee on the bike, and she at the police station, and it's at night now, and little Ugmos is coming behind her, and they in the alley, and so she don't know that they are close behind her, and so she leaves at the last minute, and it's right before the little Raggedy Ann twins could catch up with her. And so she followed the car. She goes ahead and keep track of what the cops was going. Now later, we see Montrose say he shouldn't have gave her the key to Tick. He talking about Christina and him giving her the key to the orrery. And then Tick said it don't matter, it's broke. And so he said, yeah, well, is Hippolyta trapped in the future? And Tick say, I don't know, it might be. And so he say, this girl with a robotic arm pushed him back through the time warp. And that's how he was able to come back. He said before he left, he grabbed this book. And the book was inspired by by his dad, Tick. And so he said that it's pretty much his family story and that book. And Montrose say, well, let me ask, does it have a happy ending? And then he said, well, it said that Christina sacrificed me to become immortal at the autumnal equinox. And then Montrose say, man, that's in 5 days. And he said, well, yeah. And that spell might kill me too. And so they said that they got to do everything they can. He gonna do everything he can for his son. That's what Tick said. And Montrose said, well, part of the spell is intention. And I intend to do everything I can to save my son and my grandson. And so we see Dee, and she in this cop's office now. And she bust in and she say, what you do with my mama? And no, she said at first, what you do with your spit? And so we see that he started laughing. And he said, hey, I couldn't have you speaking to anybody about our little chats. And she say, so what'll happen if they gets me? And he says, well, I can remove it, but you gotta do something for me. And he asks if she knows what the orrery is. And she said, yeah, I know what the orrery is. And he said she did a great job acting. And she tell other cop her mama name is Greek, asshole. And he tell her he will save her if she bring the orrery. And so then she go ahead and Hakalugi spit on him, fork you pig. And then she walk out and she say, it stinks in here. She leave, then the cops say she already dead. So she get on the bike and we see the ugly Ugmo twins is already outside waiting. And the cop must know that they a killer, because that's why he told them forget about the girl, she already dead. So we see she mad, she screams, she fed up, she started to go full speed on her little bicycle, and she able to go and get past them right when they tried to swipe at her. And so we see later that Tick is at the house and he making the spell with blood from his hand. And so Montrose is trying to read the spell, but this fool is dyslexic and he messing up. And so we see that Tick, he find out he did Montrose is dyslexic for the first time. He like, any other secrets you keep from me? And Montrose look guilty as can be, boy. And he like, let's just come on and finish this. And so then they begin the spell. And so we see that Tick is standing inside the symbol. Montrose began to read the spell, and Tick's forehead is getting real greasy and rolled up with confusion. And because that boy got a lot of rolls in his forehead, you know. And so we see that Montrose, after he's done, says amen. And Tick like, man, what you doing? And he said, well, it can't hurt. And so they not sure if it worked. They don't feel any different. Tick don't feel any different. Montrose damn sure don't feel no different. He already feels strange for a little piece of change. You know what I'm saying? And so Tick think it didn't work. And so he upset. And so we see Christina ask some white dudes that she paid and to beat her up, basically. And so they beat the crap out of her. They end up shooting her, stabbing her after beating her up. And then they tied that barbed wire around her neck with it tied to a cotton gin fan. Pretty much the same type of torture that was done to Emmett Till. And so we see that they beat her that bad, threw that into the water, and she drowned. Next thing you know, she pop up screaming, checking her belly for, you know, the spell, and pretty much fortunate and happy that she was able to pop up and not have that be permanent to her. And so she actually felt the pain and suffering that Ruby and a lot of people of color felt. And so we see later that Letty is at the house. She in the basement developing pictures. And then we see Ruby comes on down to see her. And so while Ruby is down there, she's starting to see pictures of Letty and Tick all over the place. And so she said, Letty is saying, you know, out of all the pictures I took, I wasn't brave enough to take pictures of Emmett Till, even though his mama was brave enough to show the world. And so, you know, they saying, hey, it's all good, don't worry about that, whatever, blase, skip it. And so then she tell Ruby, hey, you know, I'm pregnant now. And so Ruby say, man, you shouldn't have followed that boy down the ark. And so she say, yeah, I know about magic. And she tell her to stay, that she been staying with Christina. And so Letty is surprised or whatever. And she's thinking, you know, why was she trying to get you to spy on us or something? And so Letty, she, you know, is asking that, and Ruby is upset, saying, you know, no, I wouldn't do that. I'm getting what I want out of the deal. And she gave me a potion, turned me into a white lady. And she learned that she don't want to be white, that wasn't what she was looking for, and that she want to be able to create her own space with magic. And so then we see that Christina, she told Letty Christina gonna teach her how to do all of this. And so they call Letty to come on upstairs. And so we see that something about to happen, but we don't know yet. And so we see later that Dee runs to the garage. And while she runs to the garage, she locked all the doors in the garage except for one. And so she got it kind of set up to funnel something in. We both know as the viewers it's the Ugmo twins. And so later we see that Letty run upstairs and it's the cops at the door. And it's them same little crooked cops that do magic. And so we see that not only are they at the door, it's a lot of them in the street. And so while they out there talking with the cops, D is dealing with, waiting on the Ugmo twins. And so next thing you know, she decides she gonna draw. So she began drawing the Ugmo twins real quick. And so while she doing that, Ruby say, watch a baby born in jail. And so while she do that, she, I guess, thought she was about to drop some knowledge on the cops. And the cops say, we got notice and reason to believe Nation of Islam radicals are, here planning revenge for Emmett Till. And they knew that was some BS. A cop walks right in. They use that as an excuse to walk in and basically toss the place. And so they tell you that there's all a bunch of BS. And so then we see the main captain try to walk in, but because of the magic spell at the door, it stops him in his tracks. And so he got shook. He see that the magic spell was there, so he decides to leave the spot. And everybody standing there was surprised. And so they know that he knows magic, and he knows that they know that he, knows magic. And so before they could even finish getting the full conversation out, Ruby was saying what just happened, and Letty was telling her, the house is protected and that he knows magic in the house. They just started shooting. They had to hit the deck with the quickness. And so D is, still drawing pictures of the Ugmo twins, and we see that they come inside. She get the, picks, and then she get a pipe, put the picks down, and she got the pipe, and she start beating the hell out of the first Ugmo that walk in there with the pipe. And then Ugly 2 comes in and making the weirdest, ugliest veteran thing dance. Ugh. And so Letty remember back at the house that she had a spell on her, and so she sits up and you can see bullets bouncing off her head and everything, and so that's the invulnerability spell that Christina put on her. And then we see Montrose. He hears D screaming and fighting with these monsters. She beating one of the Ugmo twins down. I guess she was beating the hell out of one of them. And so while he go to help, next thing you know, he can't see who she fighting. So he think he helping and that she tweaking out. And so he hold her, talking about calm down. And once he hold her, he stop her from fighting and pretty much set her up to get caught. And so while he do that, then one of the Ugmo Raggedy Anns end up putting their nails into her arm and pretty much infect her with the darkness. And so while she all messed up, we see back Tick is walking back to the house, and he hears a bunch of gunshots. And so off top, he probably figures it's probably his house. So he begins to run over there to see what's going on and what's happening. And then he sees cops. And while he see all the cops at Letty house, they start to get ready to shoot up Letty house. And so he like shook, don't know what to do. Then one of the cops turned his gun on Tick, and he tell him to get his hands up. And so Letty run outside and tell him, make sure to look out for the old, she go and make sure she look out for her old dude, her old boy. And she run outside to Tick as fast as she can. Tick! and she, got the invulnerability spell. So maybe in her mind, she feel she could protect him if they about to shoot him, if she could just get there in time. And so before she can get there, the cops pulls the bullet, shoots, which would have probably broke her heart because he was there for her, and then he gets shot. And she didn't want that. But little did they know his protection spell was going to work. And then this monster jumps out the ground and protects Tick, eats the bullet. And next thing you know, the monster eats all the cops up. Tick and Letty try to hide behind this car. And next thing you know, the monster killing cops and covers Tick and Letty in blood while they hiding behind the car. And so the cop gets killed. The captain gets ate by one of the monsters. His arm ripped off, and cops flying in the air. And Tick, while he with Letty right in front of the house, one of the monsters run. There's only one, but the monster run like he about to attack them, and Tick just put his hand up out of fear because that's all he could do. And the monster just stopped and just obey him. And next thing you know, they like, man, I guess that spell worked. And then that was the end of the episode, which was sad because damn, that was a good episode, and the way it ended would have been pretty good for the way the show was. But man, that was a hell of an episode. And Lovecraft Country, man, what a show. They never disappoint. They always keep it interesting. Damn good episode, damn good show. And it's a shame that this season is almost over. I'm wondering still, is it going to be a second season, or is this a one season type of show? But nevertheless, either way, I'm going to enjoy the season. And then I think this episode was pretty good. Good special effects and everything. I'm going to go ahead and give it a Mosco. Let's go ahead and get to that. And so, if you all ain't familiar, Mosco is simple 4-category rating system that I use, where you can get up to 100-point score. Category 1, visuals and cinematography, top notch, excellent. I give this a 20, which is a very, very good score. Storyline and plot is excellent, top notch. I like how they integrate true events with the common everyday story, and I give that also a 20. And the plot is steadily getting thick. I'm wondering how they're gonna end it. 3, special effects, makeup is amazing. It has been that way the whole show, and it continues to get better. This episode, the blood, guts, monsters, everything was top notch. It was a great episode. I give that a 20 as well. And entertainment, fun factor, very entertaining, very fun. When the show was over, that episode, I screamed, damn. I was frustrated that they ended the show right then, and frustrated that it's only an hour per episode, but we get what we get. But it's a very good show, and yeah, 1 hour ain't enough. But anyway, I give that a 20 as well. So with a total score of 80, which is an excellent Mosco to have. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This was a great episode. If you haven't seen Lovecraft Country yet, what are you waiting on? I'm going to be live streaming it this weekend on Twitch. So you can follow me on Twitch if you haven't already. And you can catch me with Lovecraft Country. All right. Don't forget to check the description box below I got a lot of good information for you to check out below, as well as don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace, and I'm out.